Okay, today we're going to be talking about the zero product property. That's going to be on pages 114 and 115. And the second I put this up here, froze. So let's get this up. So 114 and 115, 20.3, the zero product property, is actually going to be solving quadratics by factoring, but we're going to go ahead and label it zero product property. I just wanted you to know that it also has another name. So let's go ahead and turn to page 114. We are going to have a foldable on 114. We will write on 115. And I know that we had all the 21s and now we've gone back, but that will make sense in a little while. So 20.30 product property. And we're going to do something a little different. We're actually going to go through some of the examples we had from all the pages, and we're going to pull some of those and redo them with the zero product property, and you'll see what I mean. All right, you should have this foldable. I always am holding it upside down, and I don't know why. Okay, it looks like this. Okay, and it's kind of sideways. Doesn't make a lot of sense. So here's what we're actually going to do. You're going to fold this in to that line. Okay, and we're going to go ahead and cut. And then we're going to fold this down. Okay, so I've got solving quadratics by factoring, binomial, trinomial, and trinomial when it's greater than a. Now, let's talk about what the zero product property actually says. The zero product property says if you have a product like a, b, and it equals 0, then either a equals b 0 or b equals 0. So what that means, and it froze again, evidently we're going to have that kind of day. What that means is that to solve these, when they're factored out like this, we have 1 factor, 2 factor, we're going to set them equal to 0. So we will have x minus 7 equals 0, and 3x plus 2 equals 0. And now we're going to solve these. Okay. So to solve, I'm going to add 7. So x equals 7. That's one answer. Okay. I'm going to solve this one. Subtract 2. 3x equals negative 2. Divide by 3. X equals negative 2/3. And I am going to leave it as negative 2/3. I do not want a decimal. They're my two answers. Okay. So what this is actually doing is taking what we had done all week long, what we did all week last week, and the week before. We get the factors, we set them equal to solve now. Notice how they're actually the opposite. Negative 7 is positive 7. This, if I divided, would have been 2/3. It's negative 2/3. It's the opposite. So let's actually start when we have to, actually I shouldn't have told that, binomial. So when I just have to take out a greatest common factor. So I'm going to kind of write that here. Just when I'm taking out a greatest common factor. Okay, so the first step is to factor. So let's look. Number 1. What can I take out of here? They both have an x, so I can take out an x. And 12 and 14, I think I can take out a 2. Just, okay. 12 divided by 2 is 6. There's an x left. Plus 14 divided by 2 is 7. And that equals 0. Okay, and then now that it's factored, I'm going to write 2x equals 0. And 6x plus 7 equals 0. And then I'm going to solve them. Divide by 2. So x equals 0. That's one solution. Subtract 7. 6x equals negative 7. Divide by 6. X equals negative 7 over 6. Now, if you factored it correctly, you should not have anything that needs to simplify. Okay. Now, if you wanted to make sure you have the right answer, you could take this and plug it back in and see if you actually got 0 or not. But there's your answers. Pause the video and try number 2 on your own. That's what we just did. Okay. I can definitely take out an x. 18 and 30. I can take out a 3, but can I take out anything higher? Yeah, a 6. I can take out a 6. 18 divided by 6 is 3, and then x minus 30 divided by 6 is 5. And that equals 0. Now separate. 6x equals 0. 3x minus 5 equals 0. Divide by 6. X equals 0. Add 5. 3x equals 5. Divide by 3. X equals 5 thirds. There are my two answers, 0 and 5 thirds. Okay. Now, trinomial. This is the one we've been doing a lot last week, and that's where we're going to have to actually make a chart, find the factors, and then we will solve. So let's get the factors. By the way, notice how all these are equal to 0. That has to be true in order for these to work, which means later, if you don't have something that's equal to 0, you're going to have to make it equal to 0, and it has to be in standard form. Okay, so let's make our chart. C and B. Our C value is 18. Our B value is 11. Okay, so let's see. Factors of 18, 1 and 18. That's 19, so that doesn't work. 2 and 9. 2 plus 9 is 11, so that one works. So our factors are x plus 2, x plus 9, and bring down the equal 0. Now we're going to solve them. X plus 2 equals 0, and x plus 9 equals 0. Subtract 2. X equals negative 2. Subtract 9. X equals negative 9. These are the opposites. Yes, sometimes some of you will be able to go from here to here without solving. That's fine. These are your answers, though. They're the opposites. By the way, just to get you in the mindset of what we're going to be talking about, anytime you see solutions, roots, zeros, or x-intercepts, it's talking about these. Solutions, roots, zeros, x-intercepts. It's talking about these. Okay, pause the video, factor number 4, and solve it. All right, number 4. C and B. Let's see, C is negative 28. B is negative 3. So we're going to have a positive and a negative. The negative is going to be larger since this is negative. So 1 and negative 28. And that's negative 27, so that doesn't work. 2 and negative 14. That's negative 12, so no. 3, does 3 go into 28? I don't think so. 4 does. 4 times negative 7. 4 plus negative 7 is negative 3, so that's the one we wanted. So I'm going to write those factors. I'm going to write them down here because I'm kind of out of room and I needed to solve. X plus 4, x minus 7, equals 0. Don't forget the equals 0 part. So x plus 4 equals 0. X minus 7 equals 0. And subtract for the 4. So x equals negative 4. And add for the 7. So x equals 7. So again, they're the opposites. And these are the solutions, roots, zeros, or x-intercepts for this quadratic equation. All right, last we're going to talk about the trinomial when a is greater than 1. So when a is greater than 1. So if you remember, when we do this, it is a times c and b. A times c is 3 times 8, which is 24. B is 14. So 1 times 24, 1 plus 24 is 25. Nope. 2 times 12, 2 plus 12 is 14. So now remember, we bring down everything. 3x squared plus 2x plus 12x plus 8 and bring down equals 0. This is where we separated this 14x into the 2x plus 12x because of this. Now, I didn't do this in the video, and that was my fault. I should have. But in class, instead of putting parentheses around everything, I talked about how we can group by just highlighting our pieces. So highlight the first two in one color, the second two in another color, and there are our groups. Okay, so now we need to factor out from our groups. So in the blue section here, I've got a 3x squared plus 2x. I can take an x out of that, and I'm left with 3x plus 2. Okay, now from the green section, I've got a 12 and an 8. I can take out a 4, which leaves me 3x plus 2. I got to bring equals 0 around. These match, so I'm good. So I have 3x plus 2, and x plus 4 is what's left over. Now I'm going to solve just like I did earlier after it's factored. X plus 4 equals 0. Okay, and I'm going to start subtracting. So subtract 2. So 3x equals negative 2. Divide by 3. X equals negative 2/3. Subtract 4. X equals negative 4. Okay, pause the video and try number 6. We're going to make our chart. A times C and B. 2 times negative 15 is negative 30. And 7 is B. Okay, it's going to be one positive, one negative factor, and 7 is positive, so that means the larger number will be positive. So let's start with 1 and 30. Negative 1 plus 30 is 29. Nope. Negative 2 times 15. Negative 2 plus 15 equals 13. No. Negative 3 times 10. Negative 3 plus 10 is 7. So that's what I want. So bring down 2x squared, but instead of 7x, we're going to put minus 3x plus 10x minus 15, got the x, equals 0. Once you've done that, we're going to group it. First two and the last two. And now let's take out our common or like or whatever denominator. No, greatest common factor. Couldn't think of the word. We're left with 2x minus 3. We can take out a 5, so plus 5 and 2x minus 3. So they match, so we're good. And then separate 2x minus 3, x plus 5, And now it's time to solve. 2x minus 3 equals 0. X plus 5 equals 0. Add 3. 2x equals 3. Divide by 2. So x equals 3 halves. Subtract 5. X equals negative 5. Alright, we're going to glue this in, but we're also going to write on page 115 when we're done gluing this in. So take this and put on 114. We'll be technically sideways here. So like this is how it's going to go glued in. Okay. And then we're going to do some examples of this on 115. And here's what I mean by this is going to be a little different. I'm going to flip back and find some examples I've done in the past. Okay. So let's flip back to page 108. We're going to take 1 out of here. Let's solve for k. So I'm going to write down number 6. And I'm going to label it number 6. I want you to know we took it from here. Now I've lost my black pen. Here it is. Number 6. 3k squared plus 8k. Now, to save ourselves some time, I'm going to go ahead and write down what we factored. I want you to solve for k, and I'm going to wait. I'm actually not going to wait. We're going to write down another one. We're going to write down number 5 from that page. I should have done it in order, but oh well. Number 5 from that page is 15j minus 10. And like I said, I'm going to go ahead and write down what we factored out. We might as well save ourselves some time. And we're going to solve for j. Now, we are adding equals 0 here to just help us out, okay? Okay. Now, we're going to pick one from the trinomial page. So let's turn to the trinomial page. Let's factor the first one we did. Number 1. We're going to do number 1 from that page. And yep, I'm going to label it number 1. And that's x squared plus 9x plus 18. Okay, and I'm going to go ahead and give you the factors because that's the wrong one, guys. I said we were going to do number 1. Let me grab my white out. I copied down the one that was before number 1. Okay, so x squared plus 11x plus 30. And we already factored it as x plus 5 and x plus 6. And we'll add the equal 0. While we're going there, let's just pick number 2 from that page as well, which was x squared plus 10x plus 16. We already factored it. It was x plus 2 and x plus 8. Sorry, can't read. And we'll add equals 0 in a minute. I'm going to zoom in so you can see those. We're going to pick a couple more, and we're going to go ahead and write them down. Then we're going to solve all of them. And I'm going to pick from page 111. Let's pick numbers 7 and 8. 7 and 8. Number 7 was 3x squared minus 12x minus 63, and we went ahead and factored it as 3 times x plus 3 times x minus 7. And number 8, 8x squared minus 30x minus 8. And again, we saved ourselves some time. We've already factored it. Now we're just going to go back and solve it, okay? All right, on each of these, you need to pause the video. You need to solve them. They are equal 0, because we're saying they are now. This was the original problem. You can't see because it froze. This is the original problem, but this is the factors, and now we're just going to solve them. So you're pausing, you're trying them. Okay, number 6. I'm going to set this up. K equals 0. 3k plus 8 equals 0. And solve. This one is already solved. Nothing to do there. This one I'm going to subtract an 8. 3k equals negative 8. Divide by 3. So k equals negative 8 thirds. There are my two answers for number 6. Number 5, if you have a number in front and no variable, you're going to divide by that number first, which leaves us with just 3j minus 2 equals 0. So we'll only have one answer. You only have one answer if there was only one variable. See how this one had squared? That exponent tells us how many answers there are going to be. All right, so add 2. 3j equals 2. Divide by 3. Kind of out of room, so I'm going to write over here. J equals 2 thirds. Okay. Number 1. X plus 5 equals 0. X plus 6 equals 0. Subtract 5. X equals negative 5. Subtract 6. X equals negative 6. It's important for you to realize whether it says solve or factor. If it says factor, this is your answer. If it says solve, these are your answers. Okay, number 2, x plus 2 equals 0. X plus 8 equals 0. Subtract 2. X equals negative 2. Subtract 8. X equals negative 8. Number 7 and 8. Just like before, I said if you have a number in front, you divide by that first. So divide by 3, which gives us x plus 3 and x minus 7 equals 0. Now we do it just like we did. X plus 3 equals 0. X minus 7 equals 0. Subtract 3. X equals negative 3. Add 7. X equals 7. Divide by 2. 4x plus 1. X minus 4 equals 0. Why is it keep freezing? Give you a minute there. Alright, and then 4x plus 1 equals 0. X minus 4 equals 0. Subtract 1. 4x equals negative 1. Divide by 4. X equals negative 1/4. Make sure you can see this. It didn't freeze. No, but you can't see it because of the screen there. Okay, and last, add 4. X equals 4. Okay, so quadratic, these are the factors. This is the solution. Okay, that is what you are working on today. You've got just 10 problems, and you can ask for help as you need it.